Lynch. That had me rolling.
Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee. We are live on X. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble. And you can also find this in podcast form by searching Packer Fan Total Access. All right. We're still on Packernet. We got 5 episodes a week going out to them. All the overflow and the extras will be going to Packer Fan Total Access. Make sure you search it. I'm going to get us a QR code for that as well. So with that being said, man, we got a big show for y'all tonight. We're going to dabble in the tight end position a little bit. That sounded bad. We're going to talk a little. We're going to talk a little tight end position tonight. All right. And what do I mean by that? Like Emilio, we seen it last year. They got decimated with injury. Tucker Kraft goes down. Now, you're not going to replace Tucker Kraft. Let's be honest, right? However, Luke Musgrave showed some flashes at times. Then you had, I think it was John Fitzpatrick went on the IR, and it's like, man, we could have used a little bit more talent in the tight end room, especially with how the league is pressing into 12. So we're going to talk about tight end free agents. We're going to talk about tight end draft prospects. If we have time, we'll do a mock draft. And the most important part, we're going to do our first mailbag tonight. And again, it may just be 2 or 3 questions. That's cool. Here's how it's going to work. You guys are in the Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. The questions for the show, throw those questions in there. Try to limit it to 1 a show, if that makes sense. And once a week, I'm going to do a mailbag where we answer those questions, just an extra added perk to the Patreon group. And any super chats that come in as well that's not on topic, we'll hold to the end of the show to do with the mailbag. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what we got on tap. Before we get into it, if you would, do that YouTube stuff. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We are not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all the live streams moving forward. I've got a sound bite I'm tempted to put on here, Emilio, but it says a wordy dird, and it's Matt LaFleur today. I don't know if you heard it or not, but
I haven't.
It was good. I tweeted it out. You guys can go check it out. It's a dandy. So anyway, we went ahead and clipped it and have it ready if we decide to use it. How you doing, man?
I'm good. No, good. Glad to be back. It's a lot going on. Got snowed in over here. We're not as ready for it as you are, just a little bit more north. And besides that, just ready to talk a little ball. Excited where we're heading. In this draft coverage.
Yeah, same here, man. It's been a blast covering the draft so far, and we're just scratching the surface. Hopefully everybody's getting an idea of where the strengths are in the draft class at each individual position, all that good stuff. So we'll continue to dive into it as the year goes along. So let's waste no time. Let's get into the first topic, and that is the top tight end targets on the market. Again, I'm not saying, just like linebacker, I'm not saying this is a top priority for the Green Bay Packers. Please don't misunderstand me here, gang. I'm not saying the Packers should go out and spend a ton of money on a tight end. I'm simply saying there is room on the roster for you to go get a cheap free agent tight end and or add a potential draft pick if the board falls just right. And Emilio, there's several prospects. I'm excited about that segment when we get into it. There are several prospects that really come to mind when you're like, man, if we're picking in the 4th round here and this guy were to fall, I'd be on board with taking him. So how do you feel about the tight end position on the surface before we dive into the top targets here, man?
Yeah, we know that Truck drinks that working man's Gatorade, right? We lost him. And honestly, looking at some of those sound bites from the past year and stuff, him in the huddle, like the way he can gather everyone's attention, the leadership that he has for being so young, when you lost that spark, I can see, why you lost a little bit of momentum on offense, as the year sort of went on. So you get your heartbeat back with Tuck. And then, I like where Musgrave was going. I think that he's gotten better. I would like to give Musgrave another year. Let's, give him one more shot here, see if Matt can't work him in. And then if it's not going to be the case, then all right, fine, we move on. But you asked a lot of, some would say not known tight ends. You got Wiley, you got Fitzpatrick, you got all these guys in here just to make it happen, and still you're losing them. So I think that it is something that we're going to need to take an eye on this offseason for sure.
Absolutely. Chris asked a great question here too. Chris Ann says, can the Packers afford to draft a tight end seriously with the needs at O-line, D-line, and cornerback, and maybe linebacker, and maybe running back? And what about halfback/fullback? Here's the way I answer that question, Chris. If your scouting department told you when you're picking at whatever it is, 84, wherever it is, in the third round, hey, we got Tucker Kraft sitting here, boys. You want to go get him? I think we're running the cards. Right. So again, you don't want to draft by need. You hope the board falls into place. Now, if you've got a Tucker Kraft sitting there, and then let's say you've got a Zach Tom sitting there, obviously you're going to pick Zach Tom over Tucker because it's a bigger need. But if you got a guy that your scouting department is telling you in the draft room, this dude right here, he can play just as good, if not better, than Tucker Kraft opposite him in 12 personnel. That's how I would answer that question. That's what we're saying when we're talking tight end. Now, it's kind of the similar approach with free agency as well. So here are the top targets. Now, again, not saying the Packers should sign any of these guys, just going to simply line them up here and get everybody's take. We got it sorted by previous average annual value first, all right? At the top of the list, Travis Kelce, previously $17.1 million, now at $10.7 million. David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns, $13.6 million. Now it's at 9.9. So you see both of those tight ends, their value has gone down heading into free agency. Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles, $10 million going in. Now it's at $6 million. Taysom Hill, that name sound familiar? I can't believe he's 35 years old. That is
crazy.
With the Saints, $10 million previously, 2.1 now. So I think his better football's behind him. Tyler Higbee, 8.5 last time, or previous average annual value, 5.3 now. Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons, 25 years old, former first-round pick, $8.2 million previously, 10.8 now. That's one, Emilio, that I go, boy, you're talking about somebody you could split out wide and play wide receiver a little bit too. That's a little intriguing for me. You got Zach Ertz, 6.2 at 2.2, so obviously his value's gone down. Austin Hooper, $5 million previously, 2.4 now. Foster Moreau, $4 million previously, 2.6 now. So the best value there, in my opinion, when you look at these guys, the one that grabs my attention the most here is Kyle Pitts. That's the main one where it looks like, okay, that I think you get your the most bang for your buck. Now, will he go for $10 million average annual value? I don't know. Is that out of the Packers price range? For me, it is. It's like, okay, I can't justify spending $10 million per year on a tight end when we got to re-sign Tucker Kraft in a year or two, right? So that's the whole reason we do these exercises. What's the market truly look like? How does that list look to you before we sort by market value?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Same pick for me would be Kyle Pitts, just in the fact of, money-wise, not terrible. If like you said, if he goes for 10, so be it. Can we afford that? We don't know. But looking down there at John Fitzpatrick, 25.8, looking at Kyle Pitts, 25.2, you don't think that they're going to stray far away from kind of that age. So I feel like that knocks out, if anyone has a 3 in front of their name, I would almost kind of, move them down the list or whatever. So you'd maybe look at Foster Moreau or Adam Trautman, something like that. But again, do you like those? What was your take on them coming out? And then, besides that, you might as well bring back Fitzpatrick if you think that, he's already knows the offense. He's been in it for a year. At that point, you might as well keep going.
And I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of value in that. There really is, man. Already knowing the system, already familiar with the facility, already familiar with the coaches, all that stuff. Chris Ann says, I always liked Higbee myself. Higbee's a baller, I think, man. I agree with that. Jason Y says, what about our boy Mercedes? Mercedes is down there. If you guys don't know the inside joke there on Mercedes Lewis, Matt LaFleur wanted to keep Mercedes Lewis. So hopefully this answers the question for people that say, well, are we sure that Matt didn't want the youngest roster in the league? No, trust me, there's no coach in the league that says, give me all the youngest guys. Okay. That's not how it operates. However, he wanted Mercedes Lewis back so bad. He was such a fan of Mercedes Lewis. His coaching staff for Christmas one year bought him a Mercedes Lewis jersey as a joke, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So it's probably passed him by, Jason, to be honest with you. 2 years ago, I would have been on board with it. But again, it's not showing a market value, but he's going to be 42 years old. That's a no from me, although I want it to be a yes really bad, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers his question. Market value, average annual value here, Emilio. So market value, Kyle Pitts at the top of the list here in terms of free agents. this year, 10.8 million. Travis Kelce, 10.7. David Njoku, 9.9. Isaiah Likely, 8.8. That's a guy whose value is through the roof, right? You're talking about a guy who's going to be 26 years old, previously 1 million flat, and he jumps all the way to 8.8. We'll look at the PFF grades in a second. That's a guy kind of interesting because if you get him at 8 million per, right, the first year you're probably looking at 5 or 6 million against the cap. Second year, probably blimp to 10 million, and you can move money around and make it work within the cap. That's one that's interesting if the grades, the tape were to match up. You got Chig Okonkwo. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Chig Okonkwo. With the Tennessee Titans, 26 years old. His previous was 1 million. Now it's 7.9. So he obviously is carrying quite a bit of value going into free agency. Cade Otton, 26 years old from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Same thing, 1.1 to 7.9. And then Dallas Goedert, again, 10 million to 6 million. That's where you see it start to taper off there. So the names on this list, and it's why we like to look at it from all angles, they really get your attention, is Isaiah Likely. We talked about Kyle Pitts, probably going to be priced out of your range. Yep. Isaiah Likely. And then, of course, you've got Chig Okonkwo with the Tennessee Titans. And I wouldn't hate a Cade Otton there either, man. All those guys, 25, 26, 26 years old.
Yep, that cluster right there. Under 10, above 5 is probably where you're going to get. I mean, if besides that, under 5, you might as well bring back Fitzpatrick is kind of where, I'm sort of with that. And then I like those three. Isaiah Likely, you saw him as, he can stretch the field vertically. He's got hands. Chase, same thing. And Cade Otton, not a bad guy. You all with, or at least, you had Baker Mayfield with Otton. Likely you had Lamar, so you have some veteran quarterbacks working with them. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. And then again, kind of what you're getting from them. It's not like you're coming from the draft where you're just going off college tape. You've got NFL tape. You might have played against them. How do you like how they blocked against your DNs? All those different things you want to take into consideration.
Yeah, definitely. Memphis Magic, the Barber. Good to see you in here, buddy. Says Likely and Tucker. Hey, I'd be on board with it. Not so cool. Says Isaiah Likely would do great if we had Kraft and Likely, ? Like, who are you going to defend? Right? And out of 12 personnel, you force them into their base package, and then you're off and running with two great
Christian outside. Who do you want next to him? Matthew Golden. I mean, that's a lot of speed, a lot of hands. You still have some physicality with Tuck there. A lot you can do.
Absolutely, man. And, if Tucker isn't completely ready by week 1, if you were to bring someone in like Isaiah Likely, guess what? You're not going to miss a beat. And then when you get Tucker back, here comes the 12 package, right? Mm-hmm. So really like it. Let's go into PFF grades real quick and kind of show where these guys are hitting at. So what I did was took the teams that were mentioned in all of these, for the majority of these teams right here. If you guys have followed the show, you've seen we've done this the entire time. So those teams, I just included their tight ends. So at the top of the list, we'll try to match up the ones that are free agents. First of all, Tucker Kraft, 78.1, the 8th highest graded tight end in the league. I thought it was lower than it should have been. He was balling out this year. You go on down, look at Kyle Pitts, 73.6. You like the way that matches up, right? Another one we talked about was Higbee a little bit there, right? 68.9. Yep. Dallas Goedert's a 66.7. Let's see if we find Likely. I don't see Likely on this list. Did I pass him up? Was he hurt or something? That's really strange that Likely didn't make the cut. What do you think?
He did get hurt a little bit.
Did he? So maybe he wasn't included because of the minimum. I said ignore the minimum here, though. Let's see. There's Kohler, Baltimore, and there's Mark Andrews. So, yeah, Isaiah Likely was actually a 56.4. That's really, really interesting. Really interesting there. So, because I felt like maybe it was last year. Yeah, last year was a 75.6, and then in 2025, he was a 56.4. So that's probably why. So 65, 75 takes a dip back to 56. He did play actually – trying to see the snap total here. It doesn't show me right off on this screen. It looks like probably 400, over 400, almost 500 snaps, so a significant amount of snaps. With that being said, if you were to put a lot of stock in PFF, that would steer you away from Likely a little bit, but we know it's not everything. So anybody else here grab your attention, Emilio? We'll get Jacob's take on the tight end position before we wrap up.
No, I think that's spot on. And not much else you can get out of, there's Chig down there, 59.9. It's just, I hate that 27 in the red there, right? So you're also going to want to see where we at run blocking wise. That's been key. Tucker's been trying to grind and get better at that as well. So that is got to be a top 3 need or, top 3 thing you got to pay attention to in this.
Yeah. So you can see why Kyle Pitts carries that extra value, right? Like
Right.
if Travis Kelce too, listen, he's older than the Hills. I'm not interested in bringing him in. If he's going to play, he's going to play for the Chiefs. We know that. So all of these guys, man, are just really, really interesting.
Consistency wise, Higbee would be where I would look, just
You're right.
because you got a solid guy across the board. He made a couple big catches there in the game, so it's not like he can't play in the big games. He's been on in the stage, NFC Championship, all that stuff. So
yeah, and he's within the Sean McVay system, which is basically Matt LaFleur's system, and $5.3 million is the AAV market value. So you're talking about a cap hit of like $3-4 million.
Age is the only hang up. But at what point do you say you got to look away from a number and you got to get a little bit older?
Absolutely. I think you're right, man. That's the one that comes to mind for me. If we were going to focus on the free agents and go, okay, let's get a cheap deal on a free agent. Now, maybe Higbee goes out there and gets $10 million, right? He may do that. This is just the market value projection going into free agency. I would totally be on board with Higbee at $5 million per. Jacob joining us now. Jacob, what do you think about the tight end position, man? Do you feel like it wouldn't hurt to maybe add a veteran in that room along with Tucker Kraft as he's coming back from the ACL, or do you like kind of what we've done already where it's Tucker and then a bunch of young guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this. I did not get to hear the pregame, which I usually try to do. I think Kyle Pitts, if possible, that seems like just a perfect resurgence type of player, has the unbelievable talent that we've seen in his first rookie year, and then ever since then, it's kind of been booty cheeks. If he was willing to take a decent, sizable pay cut and come and do maybe like a 1-year type privet deal, I do like the idea of Musgraves. It's I haven't seen it come to fruition. I love a lot of the guys that we had with Fitzpatrick, obviously, and with Sims at one time and different guys like that. I kind of agree with Emilio. Higbee to me sounds like more of a guy that's kind of been proven, seeing what he can do in and out. I think he's better too, like in the run game, the block game. Like Pitts, I don't feel like is an all-around tight end. He seems just kind of more like, again, replacing
receiving, right?
A receiving tight end. And that's kind of more like just we have those guys. I want more of like a freaking stud. I'm seeing a lot of people's in there talking about Isaiah Likely, but I don't think that that's just anything that's going to come to fruition. I don't know. I think I'm more leaning towards let's find something in the draft.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, man. And again, this is why we do these exercises, right? And with Kyle Pitts, if I had to put money on it, he's going to get significantly more than $10.8 million. I really believe that because again, he was an early first-round pick, and we know there's going to be multiple teams that had that same type of first-round grade on him, so they're going to overpay for that, right? And we're not in a position where obviously we want to do that because we got our tight end one in Tucker. So I'm with you guys. Higbee would be very, very interesting. So Memphis Magic the Barber says Musgrave is good but clumsy. I think that is a very accurate description of Musgrave.
He'll catch an amazing ball, and then he looks like a giraffe that just got out of the womb. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you not know how to stand, man?
It's funny, too, because every time it happens, I go, it's a first down. I don't care. Let's just move on. We got the first down. All right. If you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about this tight end free agent class here? Is there anybody else there that you would rather grab? What do you think about signing Tyler Higbee for a $5 million contract? Do you think Kyle Pitts will break the bank? Do you think Isaiah Likely was disrespected by PFF and you would like to go after him? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future content. All right, let's shift gears now and let's put a bow on this as we are going to talk about the rookie prospects at the tight end position. All right, and this is really, really interesting to me. And do I got them pulled up? I think I got them pulled up. Yeah, maybe not. Oh, did I screw up? I think I screwed up. All right, y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let your boy fix this real quick. What in the world have I done?
Jacob, it's got to be your fault.
No, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Emilio. I didn't
know it is.
Jacob, out of your race car bed before you were playing Madden on rookie.
I got snowed in, Jacob. What do you want me to do in my race car bed, bro? It's good. It's this low to the ground. The tires are slipping.
They're bald. They're bald tires. Yeah. I get it.
No, but for our tight end room, Tucker, I think you do need to kind of lean on somebody though. When you come out this season, just in case he's not ready, I think Musgrave's got to be ready to be one. And then, do you fill with free agency or the draft? I mean, I don't mind Fitzpatrick coming back or Wiley. I mean, they both kind of.
I was going to say I like Wiley, but didn't he get like a serious injury as well? So did Fitzpatrick. So did Simpson from Minnesota.
Who didn't get an injury this year?
That's what I'm saying. And then even guys like Messiah Swinson, who I believe are on our practice squad, it's like that's not the type of guy that is going to replace anything near to a Tucker Kraft, right? Like so. Yeah.
All right, we're ready to roll. So let's dive in now, gang, to the top prospects at the tight end position in this year's draft. Again, we're using our PTA big board. We're going to show you where they're projected to go before the Senior Bowl, the grade that we've got on them. And then if you guys, Jacob, if you want to do like you did earlier and just kind of tell me where the updated number is for the consensus big board, that's cool. If not, no big deal. I thought that was really, really interesting how you were updating. Emilio, there was a bunch of these guys we were on early. And all of a sudden, the consensus big board now, they've got them ranked up there where we got them ranked. It's hilarious how that works. So, all right, let's jump into it. Tight ends. I'm going to screw some of these names up. So please give me some grace here as we're trying to learn the names of all these prospects as it's early in the draft process.
You got this, Clay. I got you. You got it.
All right. So at the top of the list is Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. All right. His grade, a 19.5. The consensus big board had him at 17. The PFF big board had him at 24. Next is Eli Stowers, however you say it, tight end out of Vanderbilt. 36.4 is the grade, low number wins, guys. 81 is where the consensus big board had him. So we had him worthy of around the 35th pick, and consensus big board had him at 81. PFF had him at 50. All right. Justin Jolie, tight end out of NC State. He was at the Senior Bowl. 59.4 is his grade. Consensus big board had him at 96. PFF big board had him at 89. You got Michael Trigg, tight end out of Baylor. He was at the Senior Bowl. 59.8. Consensus big board had him at 82. Max Clare, tight end out of Ohio State. 62.1 is our grade. 78 on the consensus big board. Jack Andres, I believe it is. Tight end out of Texas, 68's the grade, 106 on the big board. Tanner Kazoil, if I'm saying that right, Kazoil, this is one of my favorite prospects. He was at the Senior Bowl. He really flashed. He didn't get the Senior Bowl bonus, but, man, it just seemed like everybody was talking about him. Big body tight end, right? 83.8 is the grade we've got on him. The consensus big board had him at 165. Could you imagine getting somebody that's a top 100 talent on your board and a big body tight end like that? This is what we're talking about. You maybe don't have to spend money in free agency. You spend a late round pick on a guy like that. But once again, your roster is going to stay the youngest roster in the league if you go that route. So that's a handful of names here. We can keep on moving along. Is Eli Raritan actually graded out a little bit better than I expected out of Notre Dame. I know I told you guys I felt like he was overrated because he was supposed to blow up at Notre Dame. 94.8. Walter Football had him in the 74 spot. The consensus big board has him at 135. I'd be okay with Eli Raritan around that mark. It's just some people were saying he might be a second or a third round talent. I can't buy into that right now. So let's start with you here, Jacob. How do you feel about these rookie tight ends? Is there anybody that grabs your attention, man?
Yeah, I mean, just off the top, like you said, Tanner, I think it's Kazoil, something like that. Consensus big board and the mock draft database has him at 156. So similar to where kind of the consensus was. I think that'd be interesting. A lot of people, it seemed like in the chat, know that guy too. Wondering what you guys' thoughts are on a guy like Marlon Klein. Where do we have him?
Klein, we've got him a little bit lower. We got him in the 142 with a 142 grade. The consensus big board had him at 176. Were you going to say something, Emilio?
No, that's all I was going to say. Where we had him on the board. You're good.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, consensus on mock draft has him at 155. I just think tight end from Michigan feels like that it fits, but it's like, every now and then those guys don't come to fruition. Amelia, what do you think about Joe Royer, Cincinnati? Have you ever heard about Cincinnati tight ends, my guy?
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. Jacob, have you seen their stadium in college football, man? It's like into a building, built into the building and everything. I mean, it's got to be cool playing there anywhere. But, yeah, I do like the guy. But I think Clayton might be onto something with our boy from Houston there. What's he pushing, 6'7", 250, something like that? I mean, that's
Is he 6'7", Amelia?
No, I don't do that, Jacob. I don't even know what that means.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's that's what Chris was saying in here. Yeah. So not so cool. Mention him. There's a tight end name because see now he spelled it. Do I got it spelled right or does he have it spelled right? We'll never get this name right. I think it's Koziol.
Koziol.
Yeah, Kazil maybe.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah, we'll just say Kazil. All right. Yeah. Near the 6th or 7th round would be good. Look him up. And then, of course, Chris Ian said Clayton was talking about him the other day. He's like 6'7", 250 pounds. There you go. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the one that, again, every year there's somebody that kind of pops and you go, man, I remember that guy. I remember that guy. He's that dude this year for me at the tight end position for sure. So when you look at this, Chad, how would we feel? How would we feel about drafting a tight end, let's say in the 5th or 6th round? You think that's a wasted pick? You think we got other larger needs? Or what if you could go get somebody like that? Would we be okay with it? And how do y'all feel about that? Like in a perfect scenario, what draft pick would you guys like to use on a tight end based off of our needs? I'll start with you, Emilio. Like what comes to mind for you, man?
Yeah, I mean, 5 to 7. If you find the one you like at 4, take it. But I also like, when I was doing a little bit more digging, the Riley Nowalski from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a nice little pull if he's still hanging around in the 7th round. He's kind of one of those across the board utility guys. If he can move, if he's a move as well. He was in line for 270, slot set 87. I mean, not bad, caught a couple balls, and I wouldn't be opposed to that late.
That Nowakowski?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime you can get a ski in the backfield, Jacob, we're set.
Hey, that's what Packer Doug's saying. Riley's a freaking unit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then again, we were in this last year as well. Was Ohio State, right? So do you look at the teams that made it to that final and win that championship? Do those players, are they, worthy of a little bit of extra? Did they fight through? Those kind of things you got to take into consideration as well.
No.
Yeah. Do you think it's a weird, coincidence that there you go? And several Packer Doug says Nowakowski went to Milwaukee Marquette High School with my nephews. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Do you think that we've been lacking that types of ever since Mercedes Lewis left the Green Bay Packers? We have not had one of those kind of like thumper tight ends, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft is Tucker Kraft, so don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing no respect on this dude's name.
Tucker Kraft could not block like Mercedes Lewis. He can't.
Right.
And I think he blocks fine. Don't get me wrong. But Mercedes he was like a 6th offensive lineman, Jacob. You're right, man.
I was just going to ask, and then you Bates, how smart freaking Bates is. I was going to ask about Sam Rush, tight end from Stanford. He says, Sam Rush, if I'm quoting Emilio, he can block.
He can. We have him at 208 on our board, so down a little bit, but – yeah, a dog. It looks like he's gotten better each year, a little bit lower this year. PFF had him 104. Consensus had him 336.
Yeah, that's a great pull there. Yeah,
so again, has him at 175, so they have a little bit more of a higher grade than we do. Okay. So maybe that's one of those things.
Yeah, we definitely finished with a 208.3 on him. And I see what you're saying there, Emilio. So he was 234th at his position in 23. Took a pretty significant jump in 24 to 135 and then fell back to the 258. So it's like he's not as appealing to me. I don't understand how PFF can say he was the 258th best tight end, but we're going to put him 104 on our big board. Like I just don't understand. It's like, can y'all have a meeting and get on the same damn page, please? Mm-hmm. It's wild how that always shakes out. So again, when you look at this, it comes down to how much value, how much importance do you want to place on the tight end position? You're one injury away from that becoming a non-factor, right? Like in your offensive scheme. We talked about, potentially going and getting a free agent. Like you guys have mentioned with Mercedes Lewis, as Jason Watt says, Mercedes Lewis made our offensive line's job easier. It also, I think it helped shore up the special teams on the outside a little bit too with the blocking. That was something that he was good at as well, blocking off the edge there. That's typically a tight end spot that you put a guy in. Somebody said it earlier here. I think it was Chris in the chat said, buy a veteran for $4 million average annual value. I don't hate that, right? To me, that's the equivalent to spending a late round pick on a guy. If you go get a veteran for $4 million per, again, you're probably going to minimize the rookie mistakes the mistakes that you would experience with having a rookie tight end in there. So if I had to pick either way, I think I agree with Chris here. Rather than take a late round pick, although some of these guys are studs, probably would rather have a veteran in the building. And again, what I said earlier about tight end, imagine if Goody sees an Eli Stowers or a Justin Jolie or a Michael Trigg as this is the same build, the same type of player. Not saying they are, just theoretically speaking. This is the same grade we had on Tucker Kraft. This is the same athleticism we had on Tucker Kraft. Are you really going to pass up on him in the 3rd round knowing we feel really good that this could be Tucker Kraft 2.0, and now we've got our 12 personnel that all these teams like to really press into? in 2025.
So real quick to that point, I can't quite see his full name here because I'm getting old. John Michael Gillenborg, the
That's
tight end from
John Michael Montgomery.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Tight end from Wyoming. You talk about a Tucker Craft 2.0. If you get a guy from Wyoming who's playing football, you know he loves football. From what I'm looking at right now, people kind of have a decent grade on him. What do you guys think about him? What do you got, Emilio?
He's sitting in the 184 spot on the consensus big board. But Emilio, tell him about the Jaden Reed effect here with those grades. You seeing that? You noticing that?
Yep, absolutely. With the Jaden Reed effect, we made sure that we put in, all right, if you did better back in the previous years where you in 23 graded out a 71.6, 24, he was a 79.6. He was able to, those grades were able to benefit him in a way rather than hinder him, though that 2025 grade does have to take into account because it's the most recent. We do have that one. We need to we need to make sure that he's all squared away, as in, all right, we're going to take that 13 and that 38, help bring that 342 down so that we can get a better number for him. Jacob, the only issue I see looking at the guy is he had a run block rate of 37.9. That's the only issue, and only about like 300-400 snaps versus some of the other guys who are pushing like 600 or 700 snaps.
Gotcha.
And when you look at that too, guys, this is why it's important. One of these don't belong, like what Emilio was saying with John Michael Gillenborg out of Wyoming. At 23, he was the 38th highest graded tight end. Yep. He jumped all the way to 13th in 24. Then last year he falls to 342. So it's like, okay,
400 snaps with the most amount of snaps he's played in those past 2 years.
Right. Yeah. So it's one of those looks like it doesn't belong, but again, you got to take the whole body of work into consideration. And again, PFF Big Board had him at 160. The consensus Big Board had him at 184. Jacob, do you got an update on the John Michael Gillenborg consensus Big Board? Where is he at on their Big Board at this moment right now? Because again, they had him at 184. I'm sure he's moved a little bit.
They got him back at 203.
So he's actually dropped. Okay.
Yeah, he dropped on PFF as well. PFF has him at 168.
And here we've got him at 112.7. That might be one that by the time the draft gets here, we're going, hey, wouldn't mind that pick. And again, it's because he showed 2 years of decent football and then had that step back. Jason Watt with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I agree. Sign a veteran tight end. They take too long to develop if we rely on the draft. So true, man. How many times? Well, as soon as you draft a rookie, right, it's, well, we got to give him a year or two. We got to give him a year. Okay, I'm tired of a year or two. And again, you got to have rookies. You got to have young guys on your roster. But the Super Bowl window is open. We're entering year 2 of 3 of the Super Bowl window being wide open. Can we press in just a little bit, Goody? And he's going to meet with the media tomorrow. We'll be bringing you those updates on everything that he says, which I'm sure will be a lot of word salad. Nothing actually talked about. But we
see Goody one Wednesday every 3 months, and he just goes back into and does his thing, man. That's it. He's got it down. And
Matt LaFleur hates it because he's being forced to talk to the media all the time. And Goody's like, here's the youngest roster in the league. I'm going to go back to my office. Y'all let me know if you need something. So, Jason, appreciate the super chat, buddy. You are the man. All right. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about the tight end room? How do you feel about the prospects? How do you feel about the free agents that are available? What would you rather do? Are you like Jason Y? You're like Chris N? Let's go get a veteran for $4 or $5 million. Or would you rather take a swing in a draft and potentially hit on a late round gem? Let us know in the comments how you feel about it. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all the future live streams.
She is a G.
There you go. All right, we got a question here in the mailbag, one from Chris N over in our Patreon group. Again, guys, you can get access to this chat. We're going to try to do one mailbag episode a week, and I'll let y'all know when we're going to do it. But Chris asked a question here. He says, question 1, as it stands today, do you keep or release Banks, Hobbs, K9? ? Also, do you give LVN the very expensive, fully guaranteed 5th-year option? I think it's about $18 million. Those are great questions. I love how he snuck a second question. He actually got 3 questions in the first one and got a 4th one.
Yeah.
I like it when people get
it's all about where you put the question mark.
So let's start with the first question here. All right. Do you keep or release Banks, Hobbs, and K9? So let's just go keep or cut here, okay? Banks. Jacob?
Cut.
Emilio?
I think I'd cut him.
I think I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Cut your losses, move on. If he balls out somewhere else, we'll go la, 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 and pretend like we don't see it, right? What about Hobbs, Nate Hobbs?
Keep, because I have the proverbial pistol to my head because we don't have a lot going on right now in that cornerback room.
I don't hate it either, to be honest with you. Emilio, his cap hit number this year is $13 million. If you cut him, you only free up $1 million unless you do a post June 1 cut. Of course, you still got to carry.
That's the other thing too. With that money, there's not a lot of money we're freeing up, right?
It ain't a lot of money. Yeah.
I would keep Hobbs because of his last interview that he had before he left and said that he's going to be the best corner. Keyshawn did that. Well, I'm just saying Keyshawn did that, had his chance. Okay, all right, now it's time for Hobbs to go ahead and have your chance. I mean, at some point, you got to give him the shot.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, they're both included in this questionnaire. If it came down to Hobbs or Keyshawn, which one would you rather keep? I think I'd rather keep Hobbs. That's just me personally. Keyshawn, that goal line, refusing to make the tackle, refusing to even attempt to make the tackle to try to prevent a touchdown, on top of the exit interview saying, I hit all my goals, I'm good. And now he's out at the Pro Bowl flaunting around. It's like, we all watched what happened this year, right? Like, again, I don't want to bash one player too much, but I'm just a fan, just giving my opinion. I would rather keep Hobbs over Keyshawn. That's me personally. So what do y'all think about Keyshawn? Cut or keep?
We save money, right?
Yeah, we do. If you cut Keyshawn, you're freeing up $5 million this year.
So, $5 million, that could get you a tight end right there.
That's what I'm saying, Emilio.
I mean, we gave him $6 million to be a kick returner, and we got 1 or 2 out of that, and then so I would.
He's not a kick returner, Emilio. He's CB1.
No, you're right, Jacob. You're right.
This stuff. See, y'all gonna piss me off. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's every single year there's something, is there not? Like refusing to return kicks and anointing yourself cornerback 1, and then all of a sudden this year talking that trash before the Bears game and then refusing to make the tackle at the goal line in that very game, biting on the double moves, knowing that your assignment is you cannot get beat over the top.
But I mean, it was a lock on that slot fade against Tommy Cutlets.
I mean, thank you. That's another perfect example. Everybody was screaming, we want man coverage. We want man coverage. Game on the line, final drive of the game at New York 2 years ago. Keyshawn in the slot, bump and run man gets cooked like a biscuit. Like, I'm just, it's enough's enough. Enough is it. I feel like most people feel about Hobbs the way I feel about Keyshawn, And again, I'm not opposed to keeping Keyshawn per se, but at least I need to look him in the eye if I'm a coach and going, hey, man, can we be a little more accountable? Can we be a little less, with the jumping on the pile? See, the more we talk about this,
he is done. Clay is going.
I'm trying. You hear me? I'm trying to sell myself on keeping him. I'm trying to, and I keep thinking of something else that happened. That's like, I'm done. I'm just done, man. I'm done. Yeah, there you go. The 15 penalty yards, Clay. See, we're just gonna wrap up. We're done. We're done tonight. So, any other thoughts on those guys there before we do get ready to bring it down to stretch? Now, I just want to kind of open the floor to you guys the last 5 or 10 minutes and see if y'all got anything else you want to hit on.
No, I think out of those 3, it's cut 2, keep 1. No matter how you slice it, probably.
Yeah, I can see that. What about you, Jacob? What's on the forefront of your mind right now, man?
Were we hitting that LVN thing, or we're just?
I was just going to say, if anything out of that, I would say the LVN thing. I'm still in. I still think that he's got a lot of potential. I think that obviously he probably took a little bit of an ego hit. I was going to say Clayton, but
I just did, Jay. I already crashed out, bro.
I think the LVN took a bit of an ego hit that he understood. Like when they brought in Micah, like they think that that's the guy, even though you're the first round, quote unquote, talent that they put a lot of eggs in that basket. I don't know, man. It's just like, come on, then prove it to us. I think that they probably will, or I think they should. Extend him. I love guys, obviously, like that how much I love Cox. Love him to death. Come on, Emilio, be professional. But honestly, though, like if we're gonna extend Kinsley, I don't know if that's gonna happen. But we have like the guys like freaking who's the young boy that we got that was the baby Micah, Colin Oliver. And who's the other one, man? 99 Baron Sorrell. I mean, I think that we have a lot of prospects that are there that are actually there in there. I think that we should maybe spend, one more late draft pick on a guy that's maybe an up and comer kind of thing. Just make sure we have another person kind of in the hopper going there. But don't do that, Jason. I'm just gonna do that. Come on, guys. This is just a guy trying to attack some ball here,
I'm not gonna lie, I was faded. I ain't gonna lie, I was faded. Like
what do you guys think about this? Lick the crocodile Dundee 001.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
All right.
He
says got to keep Kinsley. Let Gary go. What do you guys think about letting Gary go? I guess that's a big topic, right?
Yeah, well, let's go back to the LVN question because he was asking about the fifth-year option, right? Like, I don't want the $18 million fifth-year option. How do you feel about that, Amelia? It's a no for me on that.
Yeah.
I do want to re-sign him, though. I think you could re-sign him for significantly
I want
less.
him back for 18. I wouldn't love that, but I do want him back. If that's the only way to bring him back, I think I'd be willing to. I do, because remember, he was playing with half a broken thumb or something half the season. And with Micah, every time Micah talks, it was about LVN. I think that you just have to keep that pair together.
He was playing good ball. He had like almost a 13% pressure rate. He was he had become very effective. He was a good run defender and everything. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm simply saying I would stay away from the $18 million. If you need to use it to bridge the gap to a bigger deal, you can always move that money around, that guaranteed money, like we did with Savage. Like Savage, I think we did a fifth-year option and tacked on voidable years and then just cut him outright, if I remember correctly, a year later. So with all that being said, I want LVN back for the right price. What's that price? That's tough to determine. Like if you're saying 4 years, $18 million per, that seems a little steep to me, although he may get it. He's a physical freak like Quay. Luckily, we got him under contract for at least one more year, and then you could kind of determine that if you need a little bit of time. But that decision for that fifth-year option is coming up here really quick, right? I mean, it would be – we got to make that decision, I think, by May. Ain't that right? Am I thinking right, guys?
Yes.
Let me see here if it's
just after the draft, no?
Yeah, here it is, May 1st. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so May 1st is the deadline for clubs to exercise fifth-year options for players selected in the first round of the 2023 draft. So May 1st, we'll have to make that decision. So I would rather see them extended him. If they could extend him to like let's say a 4-year, $13 million per, I'd be on board with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just saying, well, you're going to get him for another year, obviously, but I just don't think you let him walk, especially if this year is going to tear up. You'd ideally like to get him, locked down before this year goes on. If Micah comes back and both of them are going off this year, that price is just going to go up.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, man, for sure. All right, so there you go. Appreciate the questions, everybody. Rodney Jen said LVN looked good for what they used him for. Completely agree, man. I thought he played within the scheme really, really well. So that's going to wrap it up. I am getting a message here from the wife that I have my time is up. My 2 minutes are up. All right, so we're going to wrap up there. We'll be back tomorrow for PTA Live. We'll probably give you guys a couple of little blurbs, a couple little updates from Goody's press conference. I think that's at 11:30 Central Time, I believe, tomorrow morning. It might be 12:30 Central, somewhere around that range. So if we get any information out of that, we'll make sure that we go live and get that to you guys and gals. And look for multiple streams again tomorrow. So if you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about everything we cover on the show? Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon. We got a ton of people watching the show. Numbers are through the roofs. I think we had 19,000 different viewers last week alone. Okay. Wow. So if just half of those that aren't already subbed just hit that sub button for us, we would be over 10,000 subs now, because we're, like I said, closing in on, I don't even know how many subs we're up to now.
I think we should set 10 for the draft. Set that for our goal. I mean, we did last year 4,000 for the draft, and we were at like 3. So I mean, give us we'll double it from last year. I like that. That.
We're at 8,316 subs. So if you guys just hit that sub button for us, we would greatly appreciate it. So that's it. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Stay warm out there. Stay safe. That's Jacob with the hamburger meat hanging out of the shirt. That's Emilio. We don't do it, Jacob. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're going to get us in trouble here. So this show sucks. I shouldn't have said anything. You can't. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.
There we go.
Bye, guys.